Jill, my last question, and actually from today, this interview, I'm planning to like ask this question to every guest who I'm gonna bring. So you're really one of the first.
Oh,
So this is a like maybe hard question. So recently I had an interview like my good friend Akeem Haynes. He's he is a motivation speaker and he is also represented like Canada 2 times on Olympics and also brought Olympic medal back home.
wow.
So he has written this book, Love, Life, and Legacy. We were talking about legacy, like what legacy he wanna leave behind. So that makes me wonder, like, this is a good thing and very important question I can ask is, Gillian, what legacy you want to leave behind, and what are type of actions or what work you are doing now or planning to do in future to build up that legacy?
Oh, now that's a powerful question.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I read this book recently by Adam Grant called Think Again. And the premise of the book is about learning to think like a scientist. And when I first read this book, this is the only book in my entire life I've listened to on Audible and then bought the hard copy. I was so enamored with the book. And I started to ask myself, well, why is that? And what I realized was that I value thinking. I value asking questions. I value learning. I value knowledge, and I value the progression of knowledge.
Yeah.
And what so when I was at the Western, where I did all my degrees, which is in London, Ontario, Canada, I taught in the Faculty of Health Science there for 4 years. And my favorite course that I taught was a 4th-year course that I actually got to help create because it was a brand new course called Health and Social Media. And when I started designing this course, I took some time to reflect on, Gillian, when you were in 4th year undergrad, what skills do you wish you had that you didn't learn? Or what did you wish you knew then? Or what do you wish was taught to you? And what I realized was that my entire life up until that point, I was very good at preparing for tests, for learning and regurgitating, for studying to answer a multiple choice question. It was recall. It wasn't actual deep learning. There was no critical thinking. There was no problem solving. There was no asking questions. And I really realized that I am drawn to science because I love to ask questions and I love to think critically and I love to figure out answers. And so when I designed that course, I put in so much group work, discussion, dialogue to try to help to cultivate that skill within my students because I was never taught that. And I look to today, a lot of the work that I do is sharing research that I personally have conducted or research that I have read. But I don't just sit here and say, go practice gratitude.
Yeah.
I say, like we said today, we have to figure it out for ourselves. This idea of thinking critically, of learning, this quest for an ongoing knowledge and for having to create our own thoughts, think for ourselves, formulate our own ideas, be sovereign beings of our own thinking. That is what is so important to me. And every student that I have, every group that I talk to, my intention is to help people form their own thoughts. I don't want to sit here and tell you this is what you need to do. And so my legacy is that I want to be able to, I have a skill of being able to read and understand and conduct research. And part of that skill then becomes, how do you give people the best available research, but in a way where it's useful and meaningful for them? And the only way to do that on a very deep, meaningful way, in my opinion, is to engage people in the learning process. It's like, why do we love TED Talks so much? Because they take you on a learning journey and you arrive at the conclusion together. And so I hope that my legacy is that I contribute through my own work, through my own research, through my own speaking and conversations like this to spark people to have the best available research. It's an ongoing process. It's an iterative process. There's no destination, just like happiness. What we know could be proved wrong tomorrow in the data. And that's part of the beauty of it. And I love that. And so to be able to share the learning journey and to help people help themselves, that I hope is my legacy. So I've never thought of the question in that answer, but I love that question. So thank you for asking that.
You're welcome. Like, sorry about like to putting you on the spot, but
No, it's
so,
that's a great question.
thank you. It's so powerful, like things you mentioned that you really want to help people to create their own thoughts. Like this is just a small statement, but such a powerful statement. Like, thank you so much for sharing that.
Mm.
Gillian, so thank you so much for again like for coming on the show. I could you like share if there's any listeners out there like really want to connect with you, what's the best way to reach out to you on the internet?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So my website is a great hub for all of my things. So my website is my name, gillianmandich.com, and my name is Gillian with a G. So it's GILLIANMANDICH.com. My social media handle is my name at Gillian Mandich, and those are both great places to find out what I'm up to. My social, I share a lot of media clips. I do a ton of media, so those clips are all there. My website is great. If you have questions, there's a contact page there. So that's really a great place to find me.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks so much, Gillian. Again, like thanks so much for coming to the show. I really appreciate for you like giving to time to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for asking such deep, insightful, thoughtful questions and for the work that you're doing and for sharing your gift with the world. So I appreciate you and you having me on today as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening, Gillian.
You too.